The rain hammers against the cabin roof like 1,000 desperate fingers, but I barely hear it over the sound of my own voice breaking in the darkness. Jihoon, please. My hand trembles against slick skin, my body burning with a heat so violent it feels like punishment. I shouldn't be thinking about him. I shouldn't even know his name. But 3 days ago, our eyes met across a crowded diner in Capitol Hill, and my Omega nature recognized something my broken heart wasn't ready to accept. Now I'm here, alone in an abandoned hunting cabin outside North Bend, suffering through my first heat in 6 months, moaning the name of the Alpha King like some pathetic, desperate fool. I hate myself for it, but I can't stop. The rejection happened 4 months ago, but the wound still feels fresh enough to bleed. I can still see Taehyun's face when he stood before me in the center of our pack house in Seattle's east side, surrounded by every wolf who mattered, and spoke the words that shattered my world. I can't bond with you, Minho. I thought I could, but you're not what I need. Simple, clinical, devastating. I was 23 years old, wearing the traditional white handbok that marked me as an Omega, ready for bonding. And the male I'd loved since childhood looked at me like I was a mistake he needed to correct. The pain hit me so hard I collapsed right there on the polished wood floor, my Omega nature recoiling from the public refusal like I'd been struck. Rejection sickness followed. 2 weeks of fever and agony while my body tried to process what my heart couldn't accept. And when I finally recovered enough to leave my room, I realized something worse than the pain. I couldn't stay. Not in that pack. Not in that house where everyone had witnessed my humiliation. Not in a place where pitying looks and whispered conversations followed me like ghosts. So I left. Packed one bag, walked out of the only home I'd ever known, and became rogue. For 4 months, I've been surviving, working kitchen jobs, sleeping in cheap motels, moving from town to town across Washington state. I've cleaned dishes in Tacoma, waited tables in Olympia, scrubbed floors in Spokane, always moving, always alone, always trying to outrun the shame that clings to me like smoke. I thought I was doing okay, thought I was healing. Then I saw him. It was just supposed to be another shift at May's Diner in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. I was carrying coffee refills when the door opened and he walked in, and the entire world seemed to tilt sideways. Jihoon Park, Alpha King of the Pacific Northwest Territories. I recognized him instantly from the few times our pack elders had shown us photos during territory meetings. But seeing him in person was completely different. He was devastatingly beautiful, tall and lean with sharp features, black hair pushed back from his face and eyes so dark they seemed to pull light into them. He wore a simple black coat over dark clothes, nothing that screamed royalty, but power radiated from him in waves that made my knees weak. Our eyes met for maybe 3 seconds, just 3 seconds. But something inside me shifted. My Omega nature, dormant and quiet since Taehyun's rejection, suddenly surged to life with a recognition so fierce it stole my breath. Mate. No. That wasn't possible. The mate bond didn't form between rejected rogues and kings. It didn't happen in 3 seconds of eye contact across a diner full of humans who didn't even know what we were. But my body didn't care about logic. My Omega nature knew what it wanted, and it wanted him. I fled to the kitchen before he could see the way my hands were shaking, before he could scent the way my pheromones had spiked with sudden, unwanted need, before I could embarrass myself further by doing something stupid like approaching the Alpha King and asking if he felt it too. He left 20 minutes later. I watched through the kitchen window as he climbed into a black SUV with tinted windows and disappeared into Seattle traffic. I thought that was the end of it. 2 days later, my heat hit. Omega heats are supposed to be predictable. Every 3 to 4 months, manageable with preparation and privacy. Mine had been running like clockwork since I presented at 18. But this heat came early, violent, desperate in ways that terrified me. I barely made it out of the city before the first wave struck. I'd been walking toward the bus station, planning to head east toward Spokane, where I'd heard about kitchen work, when pain and need slammed into me so hard I nearly collapsed on the sidewalk. Somehow I made it to this cabin. It's an old hunting shelter deep in the woods outside North Bend, the kind of place rogues whisper about as safe temporary refuge. I crawled through the door, barred it behind me, and surrendered to the heat that consumed me like fire. And through all of it, every burning wave, every desperate touch, I can't stop thinking about him. about Jihoon, about dark eyes and overwhelming presence, and the way my Omega nature screamed when we locked gazes across that diner. Please, I hear myself whimper into the darkness, my hand moving faster, chasing relief that only lasts minutes before the need returns. Jihoon, Alpha King, I need... The shame is crushing. What's wrong with me? Am I really so broken from Taehyun's rejection that I've latched onto the first powerful alpha I saw? Is this what I've become? A desperate Omega fantasizing about a king who doesn't even know my name? But even as shame burns through me, I can't stop. The images keep coming. Jihoon finding me here. Jihoon scenting my heat. Jihoon's hands replacing mine with the confidence of an alpha who knows exactly what his Omega needs. Choose me, I whisper, and I don't even know if I'm talking to Jihoon or to fate or to the moon goddess herself. Just once, let someone choose me. My back arches off the dusty floor as sensation builds toward an inevitable peak. In my mind, it's Jihoon's voice I hear. Jihoon's scent I imagine wrapping around me. Jihoon's touch that pushes me over the edge into brief, shuddering relief. For a few perfect seconds, the burning stops. Then reality crashes back in. I'm alone in an abandoned cabin. I'm a rejected rogue Omega, and I just spent the last hour moaning the name of the most powerful alpha in the Pacific Northwest, like he could actually want someone like me. Fresh tears slide down my temples into my sweat-damp hair. This heat is going to last at least 3 more days. 3 more days of this torture. 3 more days of desperate fantasies about a king I saw for 3 seconds in a diner. 3 more days of hating myself for being this weak. The need starts building again already, and I close my eyes in exhausted defeat. I don't have the strength to fight it anymore. Don't have the pride left to be ashamed, so I surrender to the heat, to the fantasies, to the desperate whisper of his name in the darkness. What I don't know, what I can't know, is that Jihoon isn't just a fantasy. What I don't know is that he's less than a mile away, fighting every instinct he possesses not to come crashing through this cabin door and claim what his alpha nature insists belongs to him. What I don't know is that when our eyes met in that diner 3 days ago, the mate bond formed, for him, and he's been having me followed ever since, trying to figure out how to approach a rogue Omega who fled before he could even speak, trying to be honorable when every cell in his body is demanding he take what fate gave him. What I don't know is that he can hear me right now, that my desperate voice carries on the wind straight to where he stands in the rain, his legendary control hanging by a thread. What I don't know is that I'm about to get exactly what I've been begging for, but not how I expected. Not even close. The sound of breaking wood shatters through my heat-fogged mind like a gunshot. My eyes snap open. My hand freezes. For one suspended heartbeat, I think I imagined it another heat-induced hallucination, another cruel trick my desperate brain is playing on me. Then I hear it again. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, just outside the cabin door. Terror floods through me, cold and sharp enough to cut through even the burning need. I scramble backward across the dusty floor, my naked body suddenly feeling unbearably vulnerable. My clothes are scattered somewhere in the darkness. I can't remember taking them off. Can't remember anything except the heat and the desperate ache and his name falling from my lips like a prayer. The door rattles. Once. Twice. Open the door! The voice is low, commanding, and so familiar it makes my entire body go rigid with shock. Now Minho. He knows my name. How does he know my name? I said open it, Jihoon's voice comes again, and this time I can hear the strain in it. The barely controlled edge of an alpha fighting his most primal instincts. Or I'm breaking it down. Your choice. I can't move, can't think, can't process how the Alpha King is standing outside this cabin, demanding entry while I'm naked and desperate, and still trembling from touching myself while moaning his name. Oh God, he heard me. 3 seconds, he says, and his voice has dropped into something darker, something that makes my Omega nature surge with recognition and need. 2. Don't! The word tears out of me, raw and broken. I grab the nearest piece of clothing, my shirt, ripped and filthy, and clutch it against my chest. It doesn't cover nearly enough. Don't come in, please. Silence, heavy and charged. Are you hurt? His voice is closer now, right against the door. Tell me you're not hurt. I'm not hurt, I manage, though my voice shakes. I'm just, I can't, you can't see me like this. Like what? Something in his tone shifts, softens slightly. In heat? Minho, I know. I can scent you through the walls. That's why I'm here. Fresh shame crashes over me. He can scent me. Of course he can. Every alpha within a mile radius probably can. I'm broadcasting my desperate need like a beacon, and the most powerful alpha in the territory is standing right outside, breathing it in. Please leave, I whisper. Please, this is humiliating enough without— Without what? He interrupts gently. Without me seeing you vulnerable? Without me knowing you need relief? Minho, there's no shame in heat. It's natural. It's not natural to— I can't finish. Can't admit what I've been doing, what I've been saying, who I've been thinking about. To call for your mate? He finishes quietly. The world tilts again, harder this time. What? The word barely has sound. Open the door, Jihoon says again, but this time his voice is careful, measured. Please, let me explain. Let me help you understand what's happening. My hand moves toward the door before my brain can override it. My Omega nature wants him close, wants him here. It doesn't care about shame or logic or the thousand reasons why the Alpha King shouldn't be outside my heat cabin. I drag the bolt back with shaking fingers. The door swings open, and Jihoon fills the doorway like he was made for it. He's soaked from the rain, his black coat slick with water, dark hair plastered against his forehead. But his eyes, God. His eyes pin me in place with an intensity that makes it hard to breathe. They're not just dark anymore. They're blazing, ringed with gold that marks an alpha on the edge of losing control. His nostrils flare as my scent hits him fully, unfiltered by wood and distance. I watch his jaw clench, watch his hands fist at his sides like he's physically restraining himself from reaching for me. You're not dressed, he says tightly. I know. I clutch my shirt harder against my chest, but it's useless. I'm barely covered. My legs are bare. My skin is flushed and sweat damp. Every inch of me screams Omega in heat. I wasn't expecting— How long? He interrupts, his voice strained. How long have you been in heat? 2 days. My voice cracks. Maybe 3. I lose track. Something dangerous flashes across his face. 2 days. You've been suffering through this alone for 2 days. I'm used to being alone, I say, and immediately regret how broken it sounds. Jihoon takes one step inside, just one, but it feels massive in the small cabin space. The air between us thickens with tension, so heavy I can almost taste it. You shouldn't be used to it, he says quietly, and you don't have to be. Not anymore. Another wave of heat chooses that moment to slam into me. I gasp, my knees buckling. The shirt falls from my grip as I catch myself against the wall. Pain and need spiral through me so intensely that tears spring to my eyes. Jihoon moves, fast. 1 second he's by the door, the next his hands are on my shoulders, steadying me, supporting me. His touch sends electricity racing across my skin. Don't touch me. I try to pull away, but my body betrays me by leaning into him instead. Please don't, I can't. If you touch me, you'll what? His voice is rough against my ear. His scent, rain and cedar and something dark and spiced, wraps around me like a drug. Tell me what you need, Minho. I need you to leave. I lie desperately. I need you to forget you were here. Forget you heard me. Forget. I can't forget. His grip on my shoulders tightens slightly. I've tried. For 3 days, I've tried to give you space, to let you process, to be patient. But hearing you call for me while you're suffering through heat alone, that's breaking every rule I set for myself. I wasn't calling for you, I whisper, the lie tasting bitter. It was the heat. Heat makes Omegas confused. It doesn't mean anything. Look at me. It's not a request. It's an alpha command, soft but undeniable. My eyes lift to his against my will. Or maybe not against my will. Maybe I want to look at him, want to drown in those dark eyes that see too much. Tell me you don't feel it, Jihoon says quietly. Tell me that when our eyes met 3 days ago, your Omega nature didn't recognize me. Tell me you haven't been thinking about me every second since. Tell me this heat hitting early and violent has nothing to do with your body recognizing its mate. Mate, there's that word again. The one that makes no sense. The one that's too big and impossible and terrifying. You're mistaken, I manage, but my voice wavers. The mate bond doesn't form like that. Not in 3 seconds across a diner. Not between strangers. Not between a rogue Omega and a king. It does when fate decides it's time. His thumb brushes against my collarbone. The touch feather-light but burning. I've waited 300 years for this bond to form, Minho. 3 centuries. I thought I'd never find my mate. And then I walked into a diner in Capitol Hill, and there you were, looking at me like you saw straight into my soul. You can't know that's what I felt, I protest weakly. I know what I felt. His other hand comes up to cup my jaw, tilting my face up toward his. The bond formed instantly, completely, undeniably. Every cell in my body recognized you as mine. But I didn't feel. I trail off because that's not entirely true. I did feel something. Something huge and terrifying that I've been trying to deny for 3 days. You felt it, Jihoon says softly, reading my face. Your Omega nature knew, but your mind is scarred from rejection. It's protecting you by refusing to believe something this good could be real. His words cut too close to truth. I try to pull away again, but his hand's gentle on my skin, keeping me close without restraining me. Let me help you through this heat, he says quietly. Let me prove to you that you're not broken, that you're not unwanted, that what your Omega nature has been crying out for is real. I can't. The words come out choked. I can't do this. You're the Alpha King. I'm nobody. This doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense, he counters. The moon goddess doesn't make mistakes. Another heat wave builds inside me, stronger than before. I feel it coming like a storm on the horizon. My body starts trembling. My breath catches. Jihoon's eyes flash gold. When's the last time you found relief? The question is so direct, so intimate, that fresh shame floods through me. I can't answer. Can't admit that it was maybe 30 minutes ago, that I came calling his name, that the relief barely lasted at all. That's what I thought. His voice drops lower, darker. You need an alpha's help, Minho. Your body is crying out for it. Let me know. I force the word out even as my Omega nature screams in protest. No, I won't be a charity case. I won't be the pitiful, rejected Omega you felt sorry for. Something fierce crosses his face. Is that what you think this is? Pity? What else could it be? This. He steps even closer, eliminating the last inches between us. Takes both my hands in his, and then I feel it. Heat. But not the burning torture of my heat. This is different. Warm and golden and right. It starts where our skin touches and spreads through my entire body, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The mate bond. Oh God, it's real. I can feel him through the bond. Feel his emotions like they're my own. Relief, joy, fierce protectiveness. And underneath it all, desire so intense it makes my knees weak. No! I yank my hands back, breaking the connection. The loss of that golden warmth feels like being plunged into ice water. No, this isn't real. It can't be real. Jihoon's jaw tightens, but he doesn't reach for me again. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid. I'm being rational. I stumble backward, putting distance between us even though every cell in my body is screaming at me to close the gap. You're the Alpha King. You could have anyone. Why would the bond form with a rejected rogue who's been scrubbing dishes and sleeping in cheap motels for 4 months? Because fate doesn't care about titles or circumstances, he says quietly. Because you're meant to be mine, and I'm meant to be yours. Because the moon goddess looked at my 300 years of loneliness and your recent heartbreak and decided we needed each other. That's a beautiful story, I say, and I hate how bitter I sound. But I've learned not to trust beautiful stories. Taehyun told me beautiful stories too. He courted me for 2 years, said he wanted me, said we'd be happy together, and then he stood in front of our entire pack and told me I wasn't what he needed. Pain flashes across Jihoon's face. I'm not him. I know you're not him. My voice cracks. You're worse. You're the Alpha King. When you get tired of me, when you realize I'm not good enough, the whole territory will know. The humiliation will be, I will never get tired of you. He takes a step forward. I take a step back. We're dancing around each other in this tiny cabin like predator and prey. The mate bond doesn't work like that, Minho. It's permanent, unbreakable. So was the bond I almost formed with Taehyun. I shoot back, until he broke it. That wasn't a mate bond. That was a choice bond. There's a difference. Jihoon's voice is strained with the effort of staying calm. Choice bonds can be rejected because they're formed through will, not destiny. Mate bonds can't be rejected. They exist whether we accept them or not. Another heat wave slams into me, this one vicious enough to steal my breath. I double over, gasping. The shirt I'd been clutching falls completely away. I'm naked and vulnerable and burning alive, and the one person who could help me is standing right there watching me suffer. Jihoon growls low in his chest. The sound is pure alpha dominance, and it makes my omega nature surge with desperate need. "Let me help you," he says, his voice rough. "Please, let me ease this." "How?" I manage through gritted teeth. "By touching me while I'm too desperate to refuse? By taking advantage of my heat-addled state?" "That's not consent, Jihoon. I wasn't offering that." He cuts me off sharply. "I was offering my presence, my scent. An alpha's proximity can help ease heat symptoms without physical contact, but you have to let me close." I straighten slowly, my arms wrapping around myself in a futile attempt at modesty. My whole body is trembling. Sweat slides down my spine. The pain is getting worse, not better, and I don't know how much more I can take. "If you stay close," I say carefully, "will you be able to control yourself?" Something dark and possessive flashes across his face. "I've controlled myself for 3 days while knowing my mate was out here alone and suffering. I can control myself for a few more hours until your heat breaks enough for us to have a rational conversation. And if I say no, if I tell you to leave and never come back, then I'll leave." The words sound like they're being torn out of him. "I'll walk away and never approach you again, even though it will destroy me. Even though the bond will make every day apart feel like torture. Your choice matters more than my pain, Minho." Always. The sincerity in his voice breaks something inside me. No one has ever put my choice first. Not Taehyun, not my pack, not even my own family who sided with Taehyun after the rejection because he was beta-born and I was just an omega. "Just your presence," I say finally. "Nothing else, and you stay on that side of the cabin." Relief floods his face. "Thank you." He moves to the far wall, sliding down to sit with his back against the old wood. The distance between us is maybe 10 feet. Not nearly enough. Too much. His scent wraps around me stronger now that he's settled. Rain and cedar and something uniquely him. My omega nature responds immediately, the burning pain easing just slightly. Just enough to think. "How did you find me?" I ask, my voice hoarse. "I had you followed." He says it without shame. "After you ran from the diner, I needed to know you were safe. My wolves reported your location every few hours." Anger sparks through me. "You had me stalked?" "I had you protected," he corrects firmly. "There's a difference. You're a rogue omega traveling alone. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? How many alphas would take advantage of an unbonded omega in your situation? I've been managing fine for 4 months." "You've been lucky for 4 months," his eyes flash gold again. "But luck runs out. What if you'd gone into heat in a public place? What if some rogue alpha had scented you and decided to take what they wanted? What if—" "Stop." I hold up a hand. "I get it. You think I'm helpless. I think you're vulnerable," he says quietly. "And I think you've been alone long enough that you've forgotten what it feels like to have someone care about your safety." The truth of that statement hurts more than another heat wave. I look away, unable to meet his eyes. "Tell me about your rejection," Jihoon says after a moment of silence. "Tell me what happened. Why? So you can feel sorry for me? So I can understand what I'm fighting against." His voice is gentle. "So I know what walls you've built and why." I close my eyes, the memory rising up sharp and clear. Taehyun and I grew up together. He was my best friend. When we were teenagers, he started courting me properly. Flowers, walks, careful kisses that made me believe in happily ever after. Everyone expected us to bond when I turned 21. "But you didn't," Jihoon prompts softly. He kept delaying. Said he wanted to wait until he was established in the pack hierarchy, until he could provide properly. I didn't mind waiting. I thought we had forever. I laughed bitterly. Then when I turned 23, he finally asked me to bond with him. Set a date. I wore the traditional hanbok. The whole pack gathered, and he looked at me in front of everyone and said I wasn't what he needed. What did he need? Jihoon's voice is dangerously soft. Someone stronger. Someone who could give him status. I opened my eyes, staring at the cabin ceiling. Turns out he'd been sleeping with the pack alpha's daughter for 6 months. She's a beta. She can help his career. I'm just an omega who would have held him back. Jihoon makes a sound low in his chest that's pure fury. He used you. He thought he loved me. I don't know why I'm defending Taehyun. Maybe because it hurts less to think he was confused rather than cruel. He just realized he didn't. Not enough. And your pack let you leave? Didn't try to protect you after that humiliation? They sided with him. The words taste like ash. Said I should understand his position, that omegas are meant to be flexible, that I was being selfish by not accepting his rejection gracefully. So you became rogue rather than stay in a pack that didn't value you. I became rogue because I had no other choice. The heat is building again. I can feel it stirring in my core, getting ready to crest. I couldn't stay there. Couldn't watch him bond with her. Couldn't survive the pity. That's not pity I'm feeling right now, Jihoon says darkly. That's rage. At him for throwing away something precious. At your pack for failing you. At every system that made you believe you were worth less than you are. Pretty word, I whisper, but words are easy. Then let me prove it with actions. He shifts slightly, and even that small movement makes me hyper-aware of him. Let me show you what it means to be chosen, to be valued, to be loved exactly as you are. You don't love me. You don't even know me. I know you ran rather than accept false comfort. I know you've been surviving alone for months rather than compromise your dignity. I know you're strong enough to walk away from everything familiar because staying would have destroyed you. His voice is fierce. I know when you were in heat and desperate, you thought of me, called for me. Some part of you already recognizes what we are to each other. The heat crests. I cry out. My hands flying to my stomach as pain and need spiral together into something unbearable. Jihoon is on his feet instantly. Minho, don't. I hold up a shaking hand to stop him. Don't come closer. I can't. If you touch me right now, I won't be able to think. Won't be able to choose. He stops, visibly warring with himself. His hands are fisted at his sides. His whole body is taut with the effort of restraint. Please, I gasp out. Just talk to me. Distract me. Tell me something real about you. Not the Alpha King, just you. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he speaks, his voice rough. I'm terrified, he admits. For 300 years, I thought I'd never find my mate. Thought maybe I didn't deserve one after everything I did in the early wars. And then I found you, and you're perfect, and you're scared of me. That's my greatest fear, realize that my mate would look at me and see someone to run from instead of run to. The raw honesty in his voice breaks through my defenses. I look at him fully, really look at him, and see past the power and authority to the male underneath. The one who's just as scared as I am. I'm not scared of you, I say quietly. I'm scared of this, of wanting something this much, of believing in it only to have it taken away. I can't promise nothing will ever hurt you again, Jihoon says, but I can promise I will never be the one to hurt you. I can promise I will choose you every single day. I can promise that when the whole world is against you, I'll be beside you. Another wave hits. Harder. I gasp, my knees buckling. This time when Jihoon moves, I don't stop him. His arms catch me before I hit the floor. Strong and steady and so warm it makes me want to melt into him completely. He lifts me like I weigh nothing, carrying me the few steps to the corner where I'd made a makeshift bed from old blankets I found in a storage chest. Easy, he murmurs, settling me down gently. I've got you. The heat is consuming me from the inside out. Every nerve ending is on fire. Every breath feels like swallowing flames. And having him this close, his hands on my skin, his scent surrounding me, his body radiating warmth, it's making everything infinitely worse and infinitely better at the same time. It hurts, I hear myself whimper, and I hate how weak I sound, how desperate. I know. He brushes sweat-dampened hair back from my forehead, with fingers that shake slightly. Your body is fighting the bond. That's why this heat is so brutal. Your Omega nature wants to accept me, but your mind keeps resisting. So this is my fault? I manage through gritted teeth. It's no one's fault, it just is. His thumb traces my cheekbone in a gesture so tender it makes my chest ache. But if you stop fighting it, the pain would ease. The bond wants to complete. Complete means mating. My voice is barely a whisper. I can't. Not like this. Not when I'm too desperate to think clearly. I'm not asking you to mate with me right now. His other hand comes to rest on my chest, right over my racing heart. I'm asking you to let the bond settle, to stop pushing it away. You can accept the bond exists without acting on it immediately. How? Stop telling yourself this isn't real. His dark eyes hold mine. Stop convincing yourself you're not worthy of it. Just let yourself feel what's between us without judgment or fear. Another wave of heat pulses through me. I arch up involuntarily, my body seeking relief it doesn't know how to find. A sound escapes me that's half sob, half moan. Jihoon's jaw clenches. His hand on my chest presses down slightly, grounding me. Breathe through it. Focus on my voice. You're safe. You're not alone. I can't finish the sentence. Can't admit what I need. Tell me. His voice drops to something dark and commanding. Pure alpha. Tell me what you need, Minho. You're sent. The admission tears out of me. Closer? I need it closer. He doesn't hesitate. He shifts position, settling beside me on the blankets, so his body curves around mine like a shield. One arm slides beneath my neck. The other drapes across my waist. He's not restraining me. I could pull away if I wanted, but his presence surrounds me completely. His scent intensifies. Rain and cedar, and that dark spice that makes my Omega nature purr with satisfaction. I breathe it in desperately, and the pain eases just enough for me to think again. Better? He asked quietly, his breath warm against my temple. Yes. I hate admitting it. Hate that his presence helps when my own stubborn will can't. Don't let it go to your head. I feel rather than see his small smile. Wouldn't dream of it. We lie there in silence for a while. Rain continues hammering the roof. Thunder rumbles in the distance. The storm outside matches the one inside me, violent and unpredictable and overwhelming. Can I ask you something? Jihoon's voice is careful, gentle. Depends what it is. When you were in heat before I arrived, when you were calling my name, he pauses and I feel his heart rate pick up against my back. Did you know it was real? That what you were feeling was the mate bond trying to form? Shame floods through me, hot and sharp. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I'd latched onto you because you're powerful, and my Omega nature was desperate for any alpha after Taehyun's rejection. But it felt different, he prompts. Didn't it? Different from anything you felt with him. I want to lie, want to protect myself. But something about the darkness and the intimacy and the bond humming between us makes honesty feel inevitable. Yes, I admit quietly. It felt different. With Taehyun, I had to work at attraction, had to convince myself that friendship could become love. But with you, one look and my entire world shifted. It was terrifying. For me too. His arm tightens around my waist slightly. I've been alive for 3 centuries, Minho. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've fought wars and built peace and ruled over thousands of wolves. Nothing has ever terrified me the way you do. Why? Because you could destroy me. His voice is raw with honesty. You could reject the bond, walk away, and I would spend the rest of my very long life knowing my mate didn't want me. That's a power no one else has ever held over me. I turned my head slightly, trying to see his face. Is that why you had me followed? Because you were afraid I'd disappear? Partly. His hand on my waist moves in small, soothing circles. But mostly because I needed to know you were safe. The bond formed, and suddenly every protective instinct I possessed went into overdrive. The thought of you out there alone, vulnerable, possibly in danger, it was unbearable. I'm not helpless. I never said you were. His tone is firm. You're one of the strongest wolves I've ever met, Minho. What you've survived, rejection, exile, months of barely scraping by, most Omegas wouldn't have made it through that. Most would have broken, but you kept going. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. You could have begged your pack to take you back, could have accepted a lesser position just to have security, but you chose dignity over comfort. That takes remarkable strength. The praise feels foreign. Wrong. I don't know how to accept it. Don't, I say quietly. Don't put me on a pedestal. I'm not some brave hero. I'm just a rejected Omega who ran away because I was too much of a coward to face the consequences. You're not a coward, Jihoon's voice hardens. Taehyun is a coward. Your pack is cowardly. They took the easy path. You took the hard one. That's courage, not cowardice. Another heat wave begins building. I can feel it stirring in my core, like a living thing. My breath hitches. My body starts trembling again. It's coming back, I gasp out. The pain. I know. I can feel it through the bond. His hand slides from my waist down to my hip, holding me steady. Breathe with me, in and out. That's it. I try to match my breathing to his. It helps. Not much, but enough. Why is it so bad? I ask desperately. I've had heats before. They've never been this violent. Because your Omega nature is trying to complete the bond, and your mind keeps fighting it. It's like trying to hold back a tidal wave. Eventually, something has to give. What if I can't do it? The confession tumbles out before I can stop it. What if I'm too broken from Taehyun's rejection to accept another bond? What if I've ruined this before it even started? Jihoon goes very still behind me. Then he gently turns me in his arms so we're face to face on the blankets. His eyes are blazing gold in the dim light filtering through the cabin windows. Listen to me very carefully, he says, his voice low and fierce. You are not broken. Hurt, yes. Scarred, absolutely. But not broken. And you haven't ruined anything. The bond is patient. It will wait as long as you need. But you've waited 300 years already. And I'd wait 300 more if that's what you needed. He cups my face in both hands. You're worth waiting for, Minho. You're worth everything. The sincerity in his eyes is too much, too intense. I close my eyes against it, but that just makes me more aware of his touch, his warmth, the way his thumb brushes across my cheekbone in that tender gesture that unmakes me. Look at me, he says softly. I shake my head, eyes still closed. Please. The please breaks me. I open my eyes and he's so close I can see flecks of amber in all the dark gold. Can count his eyelashes. Can see the faint scar above his left eyebrow that speaks of old violence. I'm scared, I whisper. I know. I don't know how to do this. How to trust this. We'll figure it out together. His forehead touches mine. One moment at a time. One choice at a time. No pressure, no expectations, just us. The heat crests again. This time it's different. Instead of pain, it's pure need. Liquid and hot and desperate. My hips shift involuntarily, seeking friction, seeking him. Jihoon makes a choke sound. Minho, I know. My hands fist in his wet coat. I know this isn't. I'm not trying to. I know you're not. His voice is strained. But your scent just shifted. Your body is asking for something I don't know if you really want to give. What if I do want it? The words escape before I can think them through. What if just this once I want to stop thinking and just feel? His eyes flash dangerously bright. You're in heat. Your judgment is compromised. I won't take advantage of that. What if I'm giving you permission? Permission given under duress isn't real permission. He starts to pull back, but I hold on tighter. What if I tell you I've been thinking about this since the diner? That every fantasy I had during this heat was about you? That my Omega nature has been screaming for you since the moment our eyes met? The confession pours out of me like water breaking through a dam. What if this isn't the heat talking? What if it's just me finally being honest about what I want? Jihoon goes completely rigid. His breathing turns ragged. The gold in his eyes bleeds out until there's barely any dark left. You don't know what you're asking, he says roughly. Then tell me. I pull him closer. Tell me what I'm asking for. You're asking me to claim you. His voice drops to something barely human. To mark you. To complete the bond right here in this cabin while you're desperate and vulnerable. And every instinct I have is screaming at me to do exactly that. So why don't you? Because I need you to choose me when you're clear-headed. His control is visibly fraying. I need you to want this when you're not burning with heat. Otherwise, you'll hate me and yourself when it's over. The rational part of me knows he's right, but that part is drowning under wave after wave of need. I already choose you, I whisper. I chose you when I opened that door. His control shatters. But instead of claiming me like I expect, like I'm practically begging him to, Ji-hoon pulls back completely. He's across the cabin in seconds, putting the maximum distance between us. His chest heaves. His hands shake. The gold in his eyes is so bright it's almost painful to look at. No, he says, his voice barely controlled. Not like this. The rejection because that's what it feels like. Another rejection hits me like a physical blow. I curl into myself on the blankets, humiliation burning through me hotter than the heat ever could. Of course, I manage, my voice breaking. Why would you want someone like me? I'm just, stop. The command in his voice makes me freeze. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Don't you dare think this is about not wanting you. Then what is it about? I force myself to look at him. Because from where I'm lying, it looks a lot like rejection. It's about consent. He drags a hand through his wet hair, looking more undone than I've ever seen him. Real consent, not heat-induced desperation, not omega biology overriding your better judgment. I need you to choose me, Minho. Not need me because your body is burning, not want me because the bond is pulling you. I need you to choose me with a clear head and full knowledge of what that means. I know what it means. Do you? He interrupts, his voice sharp. Do you know what it means to be bonded to the Alpha King? To have your life dissected by court politics? To be thrust into a world of power and manipulation where everyone will question whether you deserve to be there? Do you understand that accepting me means accepting scrutiny and judgment and wolves who will never believe you're good enough? I stare at him, stunned by the intensity in his voice. Because I know what that life is like, he continues, his words tumbling out like he's been holding them back for too long. I've lived it for 3 centuries, and bringing you into it without preparing you, without making sure you understand what you're choosing, that would be the cruelest thing I could do. So you're protecting me by rejecting me? The bitterness in my voice is sharp enough to cut. How noble. I'm not rejecting you. He takes a step toward me, then stops himself. I'm asking you to wait. One day, just one day until your heat breaks enough for you to think clearly. Then if you still want this, if you still want me, I'm yours. Completely, forever. And if I say no, I force myself to ask, if I tell you to leave right now and never come back? Pain flashes across his face so raw it makes my chest ache. Then I'll respect that choice, even though it will destroy me. We stare at each other across the small cabin. Rain drums against the roof. Thunder rumbles closer now, and between us the mate bond pulses like a living thing, pulling and pleading and demanding we close this distance. I don't understand you, I finally say. Every alpha I've ever known would have taken what I just offered. But you're standing there fighting yourself because you want me to… What? Be sure? Yes. The word is simple. Absolute. Because I've seen what happens when bonds are formed under pressure, when omegas accept alphas because they have no other choice, when desperation masquerades as desire. His voice softens. I don't want that with you. I want you to choose me because you want me, not because biology demands it. Something in my chest cracks open. Taehyun never asked what I wanted. He just assumed, made decisions for both of us, told me what was best. I'm not Taehyun, Ji-hoon says quietly. No. I look at him, really look at him, at the strain in his posture, the way his hands are fisted so tight his knuckles are white, the barely controlled need in his eyes that he's restraining for my sake. You're nothing like him. Another heat wave hits, but this one is different, softer. The pain has dulled to a manageable ache. My body is adjusting to his presence, to the bond settling between us, whether I'm fighting it or not. Come back, I hear myself say. Please. I'm not going to throw myself at you again. I just don't want you all the way over there. He hesitates for a long moment. Then he crosses the cabin slowly, carefully, and settles back on the blankets beside me. Not as close as before, giving me space, giving us both space. Tell me about him, Ji-hoon says after a moment. About Taehyun. Tell me what the rejection was really like. I don't want to talk about it, don't want to relive that pain, but something about the darkness and the storm and Jehoon's steady presence makes the words come easier than they should. The worst part wasn't the rejection itself, I say quietly. It was finding out why. After the ceremony, after I'd recovered from the rejection sickness, I heard them talking. Tai Hyun and his father. They didn't know I was there. Jihoon goes very still beside me. What did you hear? That he'd been planning to reject me for months. That his father had arranged for him to court the Pack Alpha's daughter instead, because it would give their family more influence. That the only reason Tai Hyun courted me for 2 years was to keep me distracted while he built the real relationship he wanted. The words taste like poison. I wasn't even a choice he struggled with. I was just a placeholder, a convenient omega to pass the time until something better came along. Minho. And when I confronted him about it, you know what he said? I continue, unable to stop now that I've started. He said I should be grateful he was honest during the ceremony instead of going through with the bond just to keep up appearances. Like I should thank him for humiliating me publicly instead of privately. Jihoon makes a sound low in his chest that's pure fury. Where is he now? Tell me which pack. Why? So I can go there and tear him apart. His voice is deadly calm, the kind of calm that comes before violence. So I can make him understand what it means to throw away something precious. So I can teach him that you don't get to hurt my mate and walk away unscathed. The possessiveness in his voice should scare me, should feel like too much. Instead, it makes something warm unfurl in my chest. Your mate, I repeat softly. You keep saying that. Because it's true. He turns to look at me, and the intensity in his eyes steals my breath. You're mine, Minho. You were mine the moment the bond formed, and you'll be mine until my last breath. And anyone who hurt you, anyone who made you feel less than you are, anyone who took your trust and broke it, they answer to me now. That's a lot of responsibility for one rejection. It's not about the rejection. His hand moves to cover mine where it rests on the blanket between us. It's about what that rejection did to you, how it made you believe you weren't worthy of being chosen, how it convinced you that your value is tied to someone else's opinion of you. That's the damage I'm trying to undo. That's why I need you clear-headed when you accept this bond, so you know you're choosing yourself too. Not just me. I stare down at our joined hands. His is so much larger than mine, scarred from centuries of battles I can only imagine, strong enough to break me if he wanted, gentle enough to shake while holding mine. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and realize this was a mistake, I ask quietly. You're not going to change your mind once my heat breaks and you see me clearly? Minho, he squeezes my hand gently. I've been seeing you clearly since the diner. Heat doesn't change what I see. It doesn't change what you are to me. And what am I to you? Everything. The word is simple, absolute. You're everything I've been searching for, and everything I thought I'd never find. You're the reason I've lived 300 years. You're the answer to every question I never knew how to ask. Tears prick my eyes. I blink them back furiously. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone you just met. Then let me carry that pressure for both of us. His thumb traces circles on the back of my hand. All you have to do is decide if you want to try, if you want to see where this could go. If you want to give us a chance. What if I'm too damaged? The question comes out broken. What if Taehyun broke something in me that can't be fixed? What if I can't trust this, no matter how much I want to? Then we'll work through it together. Jihoon's voice is steady. Sure. Damage doesn't make you unlovable, Minho. It makes you human. And I have 300 years of my own damage that we'll have to navigate. We'll be broken together. You're not broken, I protest. I am. His smile is sad. I've killed. I've made choices that haunt me. I've ruled through fear and violence and spent decades atoning for the wolf I used to be. I'm not some perfect alpha sweeping in to save you. I'm just as scarred as you are, just in different ways. The honesty disarms me completely. I expect him to be confident, powerful, sure of himself. But this vulnerability, this willingness to show me his wounds, it's more powerful than any show of strength could be. Tell me, I say quietly. Tell me about your damage. He's quiet for a long moment. The rain continues its steady rhythm. Thunder rumbles closer, and then he starts talking. I was born during the clan wars, he begins, a time when packs fought for dominance and survival meant being the most vicious predator. I learned to kill before I learned to read. Learned that mercy was weakness. Learned that the only way to survive was to make everyone fear you. I listened, not interrupting, letting him speak. By the time I was 30, I'd killed more wolves than I could count. By 50, I'd conquered enough territory to be crowned Alpha King. By 100, I realized I'd built an empire of fear and had no idea how to rule with anything else. His voice is heavy with old guilt. It took me another century to start changing things, to build alliances instead of demanding submission, to earn loyalty instead of taking it by force. But you did change, I point out quietly. That's what matters. Did I? He looks at me, and there's real doubt in his eyes. Or did I just get better at hiding the monster I used to be? You're not a monster. The words come out fierce, certain. A monster wouldn't have stopped when I asked him to, wouldn't have put my choice above his own need, wouldn't be sitting here telling me his darkest secrets to help me understand him. Something shifts in his expression, softens. You defend me even knowing what I've done? You defend me even knowing I'm damaged. I squeeze his hand back. Maybe we both need to stop seeing ourselves through the lens of our worst moments. A small smile touches his lips. When did you get so wise? I'm not wise, I'm just tired of hurting. I take a shaky breath. And you make the hurt feel less, just by being here, by choosing to stay even when I keep pushing you away. I'll always choose to stay, he says simply. That's what mates do. The heat has faded to a low simmer. My body's exhausted. My mind is clearer than it's been in days. And lying here in the darkness, with Jihoon's hand in mine, listening to rain and feeling the bond settle into something warm and right between us. It's the first time since Taehyun's rejection that I feel like maybe, possibly, I could be okay again. Stay tonight? I ask quietly. Just stay close, like this. Nothing more. I'm not going anywhere, he promises. And for the first time in months, I believe it. We lie there in the comfortable silence, our hands still joined between us. The storm outside has gentled to a steady rain, and the cabin feels warmer somehow, safer. Like this space that was my prison has transformed into something else entirely. Can I ask you something? My voice is quiet in the darkness. Anything. In the diner, when our eyes met, what did you feel? Jihoon is silent for a moment, and I wonder if I've pushed too far. Then he speaks, his voice low and intimate. Like lightning struck me, he says. Like every cell in my body suddenly woke up after 300 years of sleepwalking. I looked at you, and I knew, just knew with absolute certainty that my search was over, that you were the one I'd been waiting for. My breath catches. Just from looking at me? Just from looking at you. His thumb resumes those gentle circles on my hand. You were carrying dirty dishes. Your hair was falling in your eyes. You looked exhausted, and you were the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I looked terrible that day, I protest weakly. You looked real. He shifts slightly closer, and I don't pull away. Everyone I meet sees the Alpha King first. They see power and status and what I can do for them. But you looked at me and saw, I don't know, something that made you want to run, something that scared you. It did scare me, I admit, the way I reacted to you. It was so intense, too intense. I thought something was wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. His free hand comes up to brush a strand of hair from my forehead. Your Omega nature recognized the bond forming, even if your conscious mind didn't understand it yet. That's why you ran. Self-preservation. And you just let me go? What was I supposed to do? Chase you through the kitchen and announce to a room full of humans that you were my mate? A hint of humor enters his voice. That would have gone over well. Despite everything, I feel my lips twitch. You could have tried. I wanted to. His voice drops. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to follow you, to corner you somewhere private and make you understand what was happening between us. But I forced myself to wait, to have you followed and protected while I figured out the right approach. Was ambushing my heat cabin the right approach? I asked dryly. Probably not. He has the grace to sound sheepish. But when I heard you were in heat and alone, rational planning went out the window. All I could think about was getting to you. Because of the bond. Because of you. He corrects gently. The bond is powerful, yes, but it's you I care about, Minho. Your safety, your well-being, your happiness. The bond just makes those feelings stronger. I turn on my side to face him fully. We're close enough now that I can feel his breath on my face, can see the gold still flickering in his eyes even though he's holding himself under tight control. Show me, I whisper. Show you what? What you felt in the diner. Show me through the bond. His eyes widen slightly. Minho, you said the bond goes both ways, that I can feel what you feel if I stop fighting it. I move my hand to rest over his heart, feeling it thunder beneath my palm. I want to understand. I want to feel what you felt when you saw me. It might be overwhelming, he warns. I don't care. Show me. He studies my face for a long moment, searching for any sign of doubt. Then he nods slowly and closes his eyes. The bond flares to life between us. Golden light floods through my consciousness, warm and bright and all-consuming. And with it comes emotion. His emotion, so intense it steals my breath. Recognition, fierce and immediate, like finding something you didn't know you'd lost. Joy, pure and uncomplicated, the kind of happiness that comes from answered prayers. Relief, deep and overwhelming, the end of a 300-year search. Desire, powerful but patient, wanting me with an intensity that makes me tremble. Protectiveness, primal and possessive, the need to keep me safe from everything that could hurt me. And underneath it all, threading through every other emotion like a golden cord, love. He loves me. He's loved me since the moment our eyes met across that diner. I gasp, my eyes flying open. That's too much. You can't possibly, I do. His eyes open, and they're blazing with emotion. I know it doesn't make sense. I know 3 days isn't enough time to fall in love. But the mate bond doesn't follow normal rules, Minho. It just is. Tears spill down my cheeks before I can stop them. How can you love me? You don't even know me. I know enough. His hand comes up to cup my face, his thumb catching my tears. I know you're brave enough to walk away from everything familiar rather than accept a life that would destroy you. I know you're strong enough to survive 4 months as a rogue when most Omegas would have broken in 4 weeks. I know you're honest enough to call me out when I'm wrong and vulnerable enough to let me see you cry. That's enough. That's more than enough. I'm scared, I whisper. I'm so scared of believing this only to lose it. Then let me prove it to you. He leans closer, his forehead touching mine. Every day for the rest of our lives, let me prove it to you. Let me show you what it means to be chosen, to be loved, to be valued exactly as you are. The bond pulses between us, warm and insistent, and for the first time since it formed, I stop fighting it. Stop telling myself it isn't real or I'm not worthy, or this can't possibly last. I just let myself feel it. Feel him. Feel us. Kiss me, I breathe. Jihoon goes completely still. Minho, not because of the heat, not because of biology or Omega instinct. I hold his gaze steadily. Because I want to know what it feels like, to be kissed by someone who loves me. Your heat hasn't broken yet, he says carefully, even though I can feel his desire spike through the bond. Your judgment is perfectly clear. I slide my hand up to the back of his neck. I'm not burning. I'm not desperate. I'm just asking for one kiss. That's all? He searches my face, looking for any sign that I'm not thinking clearly. Then his hand tightens on my jaw, and he closes the distance between us. His lips touch mine softly, carefully. Like I'm something precious he's afraid of breaking. The bond flares gold and bright between us. I make a soft sound against his mouth, and his control wavers. The kiss deepens. His lips part mine gently, and when his tongue touches mine, it feels like lightning and honey and coming home all at once. He kisses me like I matter, like I'm wanted, like every touch is a promise he intends to keep. My hand fists in his still damp shirt, pulling him closer. He comes willingly, his body pressing against mine in a way that's intimate but not demanding. His hand slides from my jaw to the back of my neck, cradling me carefully. When we finally break apart, we're both breathing hard. His eyes are pure gold now. Mine probably are too. That was, I can't find words. Everything, he finishes, his voice rough. That was everything. I touch my lips, still feeling the ghost of his kiss. Taehyun never kissed me like that. Something possessive flashes across Jihoon's face. Good. Even at the beginning, when things were supposed to be romantic, his kisses felt like obligation, like something he was doing because it was expected. I look up at Jihoon. But you kissed me like you meant it. I did mean it. He brushes his thumb across my lower lip. Every second of it. And if you let me, I'll spend the rest of our lives kissing you exactly like that. That's a big promise. I'm good at keeping promises. His smile is small but genuine. 300 years of practice. I laugh softly, surprising myself. When was the last time I laughed? When was the last time something felt light instead of heavy? There it is, Jihoon says quietly, his eyes soft. I've been waiting to hear that sound. What sound? You. Happy. He touches my cheek gently. Even if it's just for a moment. Even if it's just a small laugh. That's what I want for you, Minho. Happiness, joy, peace. All the things you deserve and haven't had. The words crack something open in my chest. Something that's been locked tight since Taehyun's rejection. Maybe longer. I don't know if I remember how to be happy, I admit quietly. Then we'll figure it out together. He kisses my forehead gently. Step by step, day by day. No pressure, no expectations, just us learning each other. Another wave of heat pulses through me, but it's gentle now. Manageable. My body is adjusting to the bond, settling into something that feels right instead of painful. I'm tired, I say softly. Is that normal? During heat? Very normal. He shifts slightly, pulling one of the blankets over us. Your body is exhausted from fighting the heat and the bond simultaneously. Sleep will help. Will you stay? I'm not going anywhere. His arm wraps around my waist, pulling me back against his chest. Sleep, Minho. I'll be here when you wake. I should be nervous. Should be worried about falling asleep this vulnerable with someone I barely know. But the bond hums peacefully between us, and his presence feels safe in a way nothing has felt safe in months. Jihoon? My voice is already getting drowsy. Hmm? Thank you. For waiting. For making me choose. I turn my head slightly to look at him. Taehyun never gave me choices, just made decisions and expected me to accept them. But you keep giving me power over this. Over us. His arm tightens around me. You should have power over your own life. Over your own choices. That's not something I'm giving you. It's something you already own. I'm just respecting it. Still, I let my eyes close. Thank you. His lips brush my temple. Sleep now. We'll talk more when you wake. I drift off with his heartbeat steady against my back, his scent surrounding me like safety, and the bond glowing warm and gold in my chest. For the first time since becoming rogue, I don't feel alone. For the first time since the rejection, I don't feel broken. For the first time in longer than I can remember, I feel like maybe I could be okay. And when I dream, it's not nightmares of rejection and humiliation. It's Jihoon's dark eyes looking at me like I'm everything. It's his voice saying my name like a prayer. It's the future stretching out before us, uncertain but no longer terrifying. Because this time, I'm not facing it alone. I wake to voices, not Jihoon's voice, other voices, male, unfamiliar, close enough to make my heart slam against my ribs. My eyes snap open. The cabin is brighter now, dawn light filtering through the grimy windows. Jihoon is still behind me, his arm around my waist, but his entire body has gone rigid. My king! The voice comes from just outside the door, respectful but urgent. We need to speak with you, now! Jihoon's chest rumbles with a low growl against my back. I said I wasn't to be disturbed unless it was an emergency. It is an emergency, sir. A different voice this time. The council has sent a delegation. They're demanding your immediate return to Seattle. I feel Jihoon's jaw clench where it rests near my temple. Tell them I'll return when I'm ready. They're not accepting that answer. The first voice again. They've invoked emergency protocol, something about a challenge to your authority. They need you back at the palace within 24 hours or what? Jihoon's voice drops to something deadly. They'll what, exactly? Silence, heavy and uncomfortable. I start to pull away to give him space to deal with whatever this is, but his arm tightens around me. Don't, he says quietly, his lips brushing my ear. Stay right here. But they need you. They can wait. His voice is firm. You're more important. Those words, casual and certain, hit me harder than they should. No one has ever chosen me over duty, over responsibility, over what's expected. My king, the voice outside tries again. With respect, this isn't something that can wait. The Silver Pine Pack has filed a formal complaint. They're claiming you've kidnapped one of their members. They're demanding his immediate return and threatening to bring the matter before the Territorial Council if you don't comply. My blood turns to ice. Silver Pine Pack. My old pack. Taehyun's pack. I haven't kidnapped anyone, Jihoon says coldly. Minho Kang is here of his own free will. They're claiming he's not in his right mind, that he's in heat and unable to consent to being held by an alpha. A pause. They have witnesses who saw you enter the cabin, who heard sounds that suggest coercion. Humiliation floods through me hot and sharp. They heard me. Heard us. Heard me calling Jihoon's name, begging for him, and they're twisting it into something ugly. Get out, Jihoon's voice is pure alpha command. All of you, now, before I forget you're my wolves and treat you like the threat you're currently presenting. My king, please, out! The sound of retreating footsteps, hushed voices fading into the distance. Then silence. Jihoon's entire body is vibrating with rage. I can feel it through the bond fury, so intense it's almost frightening. They're lying, I say quietly. My pack wouldn't. They were glad when I left. Why would they suddenly care? Because they found out who you're with. Jihoon's voice is tight. Because having a pack member bonded to the Alpha King gives them status they didn't have before. They want to control the narrative. Control you. Use you as leverage. The truth of that hits me like a punch to the gut. They don't want me back. They want access to you. Exactly. He finally loosens his hold on me, but only so he can turn me to face him. His eyes are still gold, but now they're burning with anger. Which is why we're leaving. Right now, I'm taking you back to Seattle with me, where you'll be protected. Something in my chest constricts. Taking me or asking me? He stops, blinks. Some of the fury fades from his expression. What? You said you were taking me. My voice is steadier than I feel. That's not the same as asking if I want to go. Understanding dawns across his face, followed immediately by regret. You're right. I'm sorry. When I'm this angry, my alpha instincts take over, and he cuts himself off, taking a visible breath. Let me try again. Minho, will you come with me to Seattle? To the palace where I can keep you safe from wolves who want to use you? It's the right question, the respectful question. But something about this whole situation feels wrong. Feels like I'm being pushed into a corner. What if I say no? I ask quietly. What if I want to stay here? Or go somewhere else entirely? Pain flashes across his face. Then I'd have to respect that choice. But I'd also have to deal with your former pack, trying to claim you're being held against your will, which puts you in danger regardless of where you are. So I don't actually have a choice. The bitterness in my voice surprises even me. I either go with you or deal with them. Either way, someone else is controlling my life. That's not what I meant, isn't it? I pull back from him completely, wrapping the blanket around myself. You said I had power over my own choices. But what choice do I have now? What power do I actually have when my options are go with you or face a pack that wants to exploit me? Jihoon looks stricken. Minho, please. I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to protect you. By making decisions for me. The hurt is bleeding through now, mixing with anger. By telling me we're leaving instead of asking. By assuming you know what's best for me. You're right. He drags a hand through his hair, looking more frustrated with himself than with me. You're absolutely right. I'm handling this badly. When I heard them say your pack was claiming coercion, that they were trying to paint me as some kind of predator, taking advantage of your heat, I wanted to put as much distance between you and them as possible. But you're doing exactly what they're accusing you of. The words come out sharper than I intend. Making choices for me, taking me somewhere without my full consent. How is that different from what they're claiming? The question hangs between us like a blade. It's different because I love you, he says finally, his voice raw. Because I'm trying to keep you safe. not use you. Because everything I do is for your benefit, not mine. That's what Tae-hyun said too. The comparison slips out before I can stop it. That everything he did was for my own good. That I should trust him to make the right choices because he knew better than I did. Jihoon flinches like I've struck him. I'm not him. Then prove it. I hold his gaze steadily. Give me a real choice. Not a choice between bad options. Give me time to think without pressure or urgency or alpha wolves lurking outside demanding things. We don't have time. There's always time for consent. I throw his own words back at him. You said that last night. Remember? When you stopped yourself from claiming me even though I was begging you to? You said permission given under duress isn't real permission. His jaw clenches. This is different. How? I challenge. How is this different from last night? You're asking me to make a huge decision while I'm still recovering from heat, still processing everything that's happened, still trying to figure out if I can trust this bond. That sounds like duress to me. We stare at each other for a long moment. The bond between us pulses with confused emotion, hurt, and anger, and love and frustration all tangled together. What do you want from me? Jihoon finally asks, and he sounds lost. Tell me what you need, Minho, because I'm trying to do the right thing here, and I keep getting it wrong. I need you to slow down. My voice cracks slightly. I need you to stop trying to fix everything and just let me process. Let me think. Let me make my own choices without feeling like the world is ending if I don't choose fast enough. But your pack is not my problem anymore. I interrupt firmly. I left them 4 months ago. I'm rogue. They have no claim on me. They're saying they do. They're saying you never formally severed pack ties. The words hit me like cold water. What? Apparently, leaving without the Alpha's formal release means you're still technically pack. Jihoon's expression is grim. Which means they can claim you're their responsibility, which means they can make legal challenges about your well-being. Fear spikes through me. But I didn't know. No one told me I needed formal release. They probably didn't want you to know. His voice is gentle now. If you're still technically pack, they can use you, control you, especially now that they know about the mate bond. I feel the walls closing in, feel my choices narrowing to nothing. So what are my options really? I ask quietly. What can I actually do? You can come with me to Seattle. Jihoon moves closer carefully. You can let me protect you while we figure out the legal mess. You can accept the bond fully, which would supersede any pack claims. Or, he hesitates. Or you can run again. His voice is heavy. Disappear before they can find you. Keep running until you're far enough away that they can't reach you. The third option hangs between us like a ghost, and I realize with sudden, painful clarity that he's testing me, testing whether I'll run from him the way I ran from my pack, testing whether I trust him enough to stay. Is that what you think I'll do? I ask quietly. Run? I think you're scared. His eyes hold mine. I think everything is happening too fast and you're feeling cornered. And I think running is the only thing that's kept you safe for 4 months. So why would you trust any other option? He's right. God help me, he's right. I want to run, want to disappear into the woods and keep moving until no one can find me. Until I'm safe from pack politics and mate bonds and alphas who look at me like I'm everything. But I'm so tired of running, so tired of being alone, so tired of choosing safety over happiness. If I stay, I say slowly, if I choose you, if I go to Seattle with you, you have to promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll keep asking. I hold his gaze. Keep giving me choices. Keep respecting when I say no. Keep treating me like a partner instead of something to protect. Because the second you stop asking and start deciding for me, I'm gone. Mate bond or not, I won't survive losing myself to another alpha. I barely survived it the first time. I promise. His voice is absolute. On my life, on my crown, on everything I am. I promise. I search his face for any sign of doubt or deception. Find only sincerity and desperate hope. Okay, I say finally. Okay, I'll go with you to Seattle. Relief floods his face. But, I hold up a hand. We do this my way. We go slow. And if at any point I feel like I'm losing myself, we stop and reassess. Deal? Deal. He reaches for my hand carefully. Thank you. for trusting me, for giving us a chance. I let him take my hand, let the bond pulse warm between us. Don't make me regret it, I whisper. I won't. His grip tightens. I swear to you, Minho, I won't. Outside voices resume, urgent, demanding, and I realize with sudden clarity that my old life just collided with my potential new one, and nothing will ever be the same. My king! The voice outside is closer now, more insistent. The Silver Pine delegation has arrived. They're demanding to see Minho Kang immediately. My entire body goes cold. Ji-hoon's hand tightens on mine. They're here? Already? They drove through the night. The guard sounds apologetic. They have legal documentation, a formal petition for Omega welfare intervention signed by their Pack Alpha. Convenient how quickly they acquired that, Ji-hoon says darkly. Then to me, quieter. You don't have to see them. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But I'm already standing, pulling the blanket tighter around myself. No, I want to see them. Minho, I need to face this. My voice is steadier than I feel. I've been running for 4 months. I'm done running. Pride flashes across Ji-hoon's face, mixed with concern. He stands, shrugging out of his coat and wrapping it around my shoulders over the blanket. It's too big, swallowing me, but it's warm and carries his scent strongly enough to calm my racing heart. You're not facing this alone, he says firmly. I'm right beside you, and if at any point you want them gone, just say the word. I nod, not trusting my voice. Ji-hoon moves to the door, his entire posture shifting into something regal and commanding. The Alpha King, not the gentle male who held me through the night. He opens the door with controlled force. 3 wolves stand outside. 2 I don't recognize, probably Silver Pine enforcers, but the third, Tae-hyun. Of course it's Tae-hyun. He looks exactly the same. Sandy hair pushed back from his face, sharp features that I used to find handsome, brown eyes that are currently widening as they take me in, wrapped in blankets and the Alpha King's coat, clearly having spent the night in this cabin. Minho, his voice is careful, concerned in a way that makes my skin crawl. Are you all right? We've been worried about you. The lie is so blatant, it almost makes me laugh. Worried, right. That's why you waited 4 months to check on me. You left without telling anyone where you were going, Tae-hyun says, taking a step forward. Ji-hoon moves instantly, blocking his path. Tae-hyun stops, his eyes narrowing. We had no way to find you until you heard I was with the Alpha King, I finish flatly, until you realized there might be something to gain from suddenly caring about my well-being. One of the enforcers steps forward. Mr. Kang, we need to assess your condition. There are concerns about your ability to consent while in heat. I'm not in heat anymore, I interrupt. The worst of it broke hours ago, and I'm here of my own free will. Are you? Tae-hyun's voice takes on that gentle, condescending tone I remember too well. Because from what we understand, you were found alone in an abandoned cabin during heat, and the Alpha King intervened. That's a vulnerable position for any Omega. We just want to make sure you weren't taken advantage of. Rage floods through me, hot and sharp. You rejected me in front of our entire pack. You destroyed my reputation and my standing. You made it impossible for me to stay. And now you have the audacity to act concerned about me being taken advantage of? Tae-hyun flinches. Minho, I know the rejection hurt you, but this hurt me? My voice rises. You humiliated me. You used me for 2 years while you were secretly with someone else. And when you were done with me, you threw me away like I was nothing. So forgive me if I don't believe your sudden concern for my well-being. I made mistakes, Tae-hyun admits, and he has the grace to look ashamed. I should have been honest with you earlier, should have ended things privately. But I'm trying to make that right now. Come back with us. Let the pack take care of you properly. You don't have to stay with him just because. Just because what? Ji-hoon's voice is deadly quiet. Finish that sentence very carefully. Tae-hyun's eyes flick to Ji-hoon, and I see calculation there, fear mixed with ambition. Just because a mate bond formed doesn't mean it has to be accepted, especially when it formed under questionable circumstances. There's nothing questionable about it, I say before Ji-hoon can respond. The bond formed days ago, before my heat, before any of this, and it's real whether you want to believe it or not. Then why haven't you completed it? One of the enforcers asks. If the bond is so real and consensual, Why are you still unmated? The question is designed to trap me. Either I admit we haven't completed the bond, which makes their coercion claims seem more valid, or I lie and say we have, which makes me look like I'm defending questionable decisions. Because he gave me a choice, I say clearly. Because unlike every other alpha I've known, Jihoon actually cares about my consent, about my readiness, about making sure I'm choosing him with a clear head, and not because I'm desperate or in heat or have no other options. Taehyun's expression tightens. That's very noble of him, but the fact remains that you're rogue, technically still pack under Silver Pine law, and currently in a vulnerable position with one of the most powerful alphas in the territory. We have a legal obligation to ensure your safety. I don't need you to ensure anything. My hands are shaking, but my voice stays steady. I left Silver Pine. I chose to be rogue. You have no claim on me. Actually, we do. The enforcer pulls out a document. According to territorial law, an Omega who leaves PAC lands without formal alpha release remains under PAC jurisdiction for 1 calendar year. It's been 4 months, which means you're still legally Silver Pine PAC, and we have the right to intervene in situations where your welfare might be compromised. The words hit me like a physical blow. That's not, it's an outdated law, Jihoon says coldly. One that hasn't been enforced in decades. But it's still law. Taehyun's voice is almost pitying. And we're enforcing it now, for Minho's protection. You mean for your benefit, Jihoon counters. You want leverage over me. You want to control the narrative around my mate so you can use it for political gain. We want to make sure Minho is safe. Taehyun looks at me, and there's something in his eyes I can't quite read. Come back with us, just for a few days. Let the pack healer assess your condition. Let us help you understand your options, without the pressure of an alpha bond clouding your judgment. If you still want to be with him after that, fine. But at least make the choice from a position of safety. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like genuine concern. But I know Taehyun. Know the way he twists words to serve his purposes. Know that if I go with them, I'll never be allowed to leave. No, I say firmly. I'm not going with you. Minho, I said no. I step closer to Jihoon, and his arm comes around me immediately. You had your chance to care about my safety. You lost that right when you rejected me. When you let me leave without even trying to stop me. When you didn't bother checking on me for 4 months until it became politically convenient. We're trying to help you, the enforcer insists. You're trying to control me. I hold Taehyun's gaze steadily. There's a difference. Taehyun's expression hardens. If you won't come willingly, we have the legal authority to remove you from this situation by force. Jihoon's growl is pure alpha dominance. Try it. See what happens when you attempt to forcibly remove my mate. Your mate is Silver Pine Pack, Taehyun counters, his own alpha showing through, which supersedes any bond claim until he's formally released or the year period expires. Then I'll get him formally released. Jihoon's voice is absolute. Right now, I'll invoke sovereign authority and override your pack's claim. That would require a territorial council vote, the enforcer says, which takes a minimum of 48 hours to convene. Until then, our claim stands. I can feel Jihoon's fury through the bond, feel his desperation to protect me warring with his need to follow proper legal channels. If he defies territorial law, even as Alpha King, it could cause political chaos. 48 hours, Jihoon says tightly. That's all you're giving me to get council approval? That's all we're required to give. Taehyun's smile is cold. After that, if the council hasn't ruled in your favor, Minho comes with us. Those are the terms. I look between them, Taehyun, with his calculated concern, the enforcers with their legal documents, and Jihoon vibrating with barely controlled rage beside me. This is the choice then, the real choice. Stay with Jihoon and trust that he can get council approval in 48 hours. Risk being forcibly removed if he fails, or go with Silver Pine now, under their protection and control, and hope they'll actually let me leave when the year period expires. But there's a third option, one I realize with sudden crystalline clarity. I'll go, I say quietly. Jihoon's head snaps toward me. What? I'll go with them. I look up at him, hoping he can see the trust in my eyes. For 48 hours, just until you get the council approval. Minho, no. Listen to me. I grip his arm tightly. If you fight this now, they'll use it as proof that you're coercing me, that you're keeping me isolated and under your control. But if I go willingly, if I show that I'm capable of making my own choices, it proves their coercion claims are false. Understanding dawns across his face, followed immediately by pain. You're choosing to leave me. I'm choosing to trust you. I hold his gaze steadily. I'm trusting that you'll get that council approval, that you'll come for me, that 48 hours from now, I'll be free of them permanently. And if I can't, his voice cracks slightly, if the council doesn't approve, if something goes wrong, then I'll run again. I say it simply, and I'll keep running until I find my way back to you. But Ji-hoon, I need to do this. I need to prove to them and to myself that I'm making this choice freely, that I'm choosing you because I want to, not because I have no other option. His jaw clenches. His entire body is rigid with the effort of not refusing outright. Through the bond, I feel his terror, his desperate need to keep me close and safe. But I also feel his understanding, his respect for what I'm trying to do. 48 hours, he says finally, his voice rough. That's all they get. And Minho, he cups my face in both hands. If they hurt you, if they try to manipulate you or force you into anything, you call for me through the bond. Immediately. Promise me. I promise. He kisses me then. Hard and desperate and full of every emotion we can't put into words. When he pulls back, his eyes are blazing gold. I'll come for you, he says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Nothing will stop me from coming for you. I believe him. I have to believe him. Because as I turn away and walk toward Taehyun and the enforcers, I'm terrified I've just made the biggest mistake of my life. The drive back to Seattle is suffocating. I sit in the back of the Silver Pine vehicle between the two enforcers, Taehyun in the front passenger seat. No one speaks. The silence is heavy with unspoken threats and careful politeness. Through the bond, I can feel Ji-hoon. He's following in his own vehicle far enough back to not seem threatening, close enough that I know he's there. His emotions pulse through the connection. Fury, fear, determination, and underneath it all, trust. He's trusting me to survive this, trusting that I know what I'm doing. I hope I do. You look better than I expected, Taehyun says finally, breaking the silence. He doesn't turn around. After 4 months as a rogue, I thought you'd be rougher. Disappointed? I ask flatly. Concerned. He does turn now, and his expression is unreadable. You've lost weight. You look exhausted. And from what I heard outside that cabin, your heat was brutal. That's not normal, Minho. Nothing about my life has been normal since you rejected me. His jaw tightens. I know you hate me. You have every right to. But I meant what I said. I want to help you now. Why? I challenge. What changed? Why do you suddenly care after 4 months of silence? He's quiet for a long moment. Then, because I saw you with him, the way he looked at you, the way you looked at him, and I realized, he trails off. Realized what? That I never looked at you like that. His voice is quiet, almost sad. In 2 years of courting you, I never once looked at you the way the Alpha King looked at you in less than a week. And you never looked at me the way you looked at him. The admission hangs in the air between us. So this is guilt, I ask? You're doing this because you feel bad about how things ended? I'm doing this because you deserve better than to be rushed into a bond with the most powerful alpha in the territory while you're still recovering from rejection and living as a rogue. He meets my eyes through the rearview mirror. I'm giving you space to make a real choice, without pressure, without desperation. If you still choose him after that, fine. At least you'll know it's what you really want. It sounds noble. It sounds like he's actually trying to help. But I know Taehyun, and I know there's something he's not saying. We arrive at the Silver Pine Pack House just as dawn fully breaks. The building looks exactly the same, a large craftsman-style house in Bellevue suburbs, carefully maintained and expensively decorated. It used to feel like home. Now it feels like a prison. Taehyun leads me inside, the enforcers flanking me like I might run. Other pack members stare as we pass. I see recognition in their eyes. Pity, curiosity, judgment. Your old room is ready, Taehyun says, guiding me up the stairs. The healer will check on you within the hour. Until then, rest, recover. We'll talk more when you're feeling better. He opens the door to what used to be my room. It's exactly as I left it 4 months ago. My books on the shelves, my clothes still in the closet, like they were waiting for me to come back, like they knew I would have no choice. There's food if you're hungry, Taehyun continues. Clean clothes, whatever you need. Just ask. And if what I need is to leave, his expression tightens. In 48 hours, if the council rules in the Alpha King's favor, you're free to go. Until then, he doesn't finish, doesn't need to. I'm trapped. He leaves, closing the door behind him. I hear the lock click. So much for having choices. I move to the window, looking out over the familiar yard. In the distance, I can see a black SUV parked on the street. Ji-hoon's vehicle. He kept his promise he followed. He's there. The bond pulses warm in my chest, and I send every ounce of reassurance I can through it. I'm okay. I'm safe. Get the council approval. His response comes back immediately, fierce and protective. I'm coming for you. Nothing will stop me. I believe him. I have to. Hours pass in a blur of uncomfortable pack healer examinations, forced meals, and Taehyun's careful questions. He's building a case, I realize, documenting my weight loss, my exhaustion, my heat-damaged scent glands, creating evidence that I've been suffering, that I need pack protection. The Alpha King had you followed, Taehyun says during one of his visits. Did you know that? For days before your heat, he had wolves tracking your movements. He was protecting me, or surveilling you. Taehyun's voice is gentle, reasonable. How well do you really know him, Minho? You've spent maybe a week in his presence. Is that enough time to commit to a permanent bond with someone that powerful? I knew you for my entire life, I counter, and you still hurt me. He flinches. I did, and I'll regret that forever. But at least with me, you knew what you were getting. With him, he's the Alpha King. He has centuries of secrets, of violence, of decisions that shaped this entire territory. Can you really say you know him? The doubt he's planting is subtle, insidious, and part of me, the scared, broken part that Taehyun's rejection created, wants to listen. But I remember Ji-hoon's hands trembling as he held mine, his voice cracking when he admitted his fears. The way he stopped himself from claiming me even when I was begging because he needed my consent to be real. I know enough, I say firmly. Taehyun studies me for a long moment. Then he sighs. I hope you're right. For your sake. He leaves again. The lock clicks again, and I'm alone with my thoughts and the bond pulsing steadily in my chest like a second heartbeat. Hold on, Ji-hoon's voice comes through the bond. The council meets tomorrow morning. I'll have you out of there by noon. I trust you, I send back, because I do. Against all logic and self-preservation and the voice in my head that sounds like Taehyun saying I'm rushing into this, I trust Ji-hoon. The door opens again hours later. I expect Taehyun or the healer. Instead, it's a female I don't recognize. Mid-20s, beta, carrying a tray of food. I'm Hana, she says quietly, setting the tray down. I'm the one Taehyun bonded with. After you. My entire body goes rigid. She doesn't look at me, just stands there, hands clasped in front of her, radiating discomfort. Why are you here? I ask carefully. Because I need you to know something. She finally looks up, and her eyes are filled with guilt. Something Taehyun won't tell you, something the pack is hiding. My heart starts racing. What? The bond between us. It failed. Her voice drops to a whisper. 3 months ago, he tried to complete it, and it just didn't take. His alpha nature rejected me. I stare at her, not understanding. But that's impossible. Rejection only happens before the bond forms, not after, unless the alpha's omega nature already recognized someone else, she finishes quietly. Unless there's a mate bond waiting to form, and the alpha tries to force a choice bond instead, then the alpha's nature rejects the chosen omega because it knows they're not the true mate. The implications hit me like a truck. You think Taehyun is my true mate? The words feel wrong even saying them. No, she shakes her head. I think you're someone else's true mate, and Taehyun knows it. That's why he's really keeping you here. Not to protect you, to prevent the bond from completing with the Alpha King. Because if it does, it proves he was never meant to be yours. It proves he rejected his mate. Why would he care about that? Because true mates are sacred, she says urgently. If the territory finds out he rejected his true mate for political gain, he'll be exiled. His family will lose status. Everything he built will be destroyed. He needs you to reject the Alpha King's bond. Needs you to stay unbonded so he can claim the failure with me was just bad luck, not evidence of a mate bond he threw away. My mind is reeling. You're saying, I'm saying run. Her eyes are desperate. Before he finds a way to force your hand, before he manipulates you into rejecting your true mate the way he rejected you, run, Minho, while you still can. The door bursts open. Taehyun stands there, his expression thunderous. Hana, get out. She flees without another word. Taehyun closes the door slowly, his eyes never leaving mine. And for the first time since I've known him, I see something that terrifies me. Desperation. How much did she tell you? He asked quietly. Enough. My voice is steadier than I feel. Enough to know you're not doing this to help me. You're doing this to save yourself. I'm doing this because I made a mistake. He takes a step toward me. Because I rejected you when I should have waited. Should have given the bond time to form naturally instead of choosing someone else. You think I'm your true mate? The idea is absurd, horrible. I think it's possible. His voice is careful. I think maybe the reason the bond with Hana failed is because you and I were always meant to know. The word comes out sharp, absolute. No. I felt the mate bond, Taehyun, with Jihoon. It's real, it's undeniable, and it's nothing like anything I ever felt with you. You felt desperation, he counters. You felt heat and need, and an alpha's proximity offering relief. That's not the same as a true mate bond. You're wrong. Am I? He's closer now. Too close. Then why hasn't he claimed you yet? Why hasn't he completed the bond? It's been days, Minho. If it's so real, why are you still unmated? Because he respects my choices. The words come out fierce. Because he's giving me time to be sure. Because unlike you, he actually cares about my consent. Or because he knows. Taehyun's voice drops. He knows that if you had more time, if you weren't desperate and scared and running, you'd realize the bond with him isn't what you think it is. Doubt flickers through me, small but sharp. What if Taehyun is right? What if what I felt with Jihoon was just heat and desperation and the relief of an alpha's presence? What if no? The bond pulses in my chest, warm and certain and undeniably real. And I hear Jihoon's voice through it, clear as day. I love you. I choose you. And I'm coming for you. Right now. My eyes snap to the window. The black SUV is gone. And I hear commotion downstairs. Raised voices. A roar that makes the windows rattle. Jihoon is here. And he's not waiting for council approval. Taehyun moves toward the door, his expression hardening. He can't just break in here and take you. That's a direct violation of territorial law. The council will. The door explodes inward. Jihoon stands in the doorway, his eyes pure blazing gold, his alpha presence so overwhelming that Taehyun stumbles backward. The council voted early, Jihoon says, his voice deadly calm. Emergency session, unanimous approval. Minho is released from all PAC claims, effective immediately. He holds up an official document, stamped and signed. Then his eyes find mine across the room. So I'm asking you one last time, Minho Kang. His voice softens, gentles. Will you come with me? Will you choose me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice? I look at Taehyun, at the male who rejected me, who tried to manipulate me, who wanted to use me to save his own reputation. Then I look at Jihoon, at the male who waited, who respected my choices, who broke territorial protocol and political pressure to come for me exactly when he said he would. The choice has never been clearer. I walk across the room, past Taehyun, straight into Jihoon's arms. Yes, I say against his chest. Yes to all of it. His arms close around me like safety, like home, like everything I've been searching for. Then let's go home, he murmurs into my hair. Our home, where you belong. He lifts me easily, turning toward the door. This isn't over, Taehyun calls after us. The territory will hear about this, about how the Alpha King. Say another word. Jihoon's voice cuts through without even looking back. and you'll discover exactly what the Alpha King does to wolves who threaten his mate. Silence. Jihoon carries me down the stairs, through the pack house, past staring wolves who don't dare intervene, out into the dawn light where his wolves are waiting, where freedom is waiting, where our future is waiting. He sets me carefully in the back of his SUV, sliding in beside me. The door closes. The vehicle starts moving, and finally I can breathe. I was so scared, I admit, my voice breaking. I thought maybe you wouldn't. I will always come for you, he says fiercely, pulling me against his chest. Always. No counsel, no law, no force in this world will keep me from you. Even if I asked you to wait? Especially then. His hand cradles the back of my head. Because respecting your choices means honoring them even when they kill me to do so. I pull back to look at him. His eyes are still gold. His face is fierce with love and possession and barely controlled emotion. Jihoon, I say quietly, I'm ready now. I'm ready to complete the bond. To be yours. Completely. Are you sure? His voice is rough. We can wait. We can... I'm sure. I cup his face in both hands. I'm choosing you. With a clear head, with full knowledge of what it means, I'm choosing us. The gold in his eyes flares bright. Then let's go home, he says, his voice dropping into something dark and possessive that makes my Omega nature sing. So I can spend the rest of the night showing you exactly what it means to be loved by your mate. The SUV speeds through Seattle streets as dawn breaks over the city, and pressed against Jihoon's chest, feeling his heartbeat thunder beneath my palm, feeling the bond pulse warm and certain between us. I finally understand what it means to be chosen, to be wanted, to be home. But as we pull up to the palace gates, as I look up at the massive building that will be my new home, one thought whispers through my mind. This is just the beginning. Because accepting the bond means accepting everything that comes with it. The politics, the scrutiny, the court wolves who will question if I'm worthy. And somewhere in Seattle, Taehyun is watching, plotting, waiting. Jihoon's arms tighten around me as if sensing my thoughts. Whatever comes, he murmurs against my temple, we face it together. I nod against his chest. Together. The word feels like a promise, like hope, like everything I thought I'd lost when Taehyun rejected me 4 months ago. The SUV stops, the door opens, and as Jihoon helps me out into the dawn light, his hand firm and steady in mine, I take my first step into a future I never imagined could be mine. A future where I'm not just surviving, where I'm chosen, wanted, loved, where I'm finally, impossibly, breathtakingly, home. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. If that ending wrecked you, hit subscribe. The next chapter drops soon.